My wife Paula and Dave Williams were planning to spend the weekend at our summer house on the coast, which usually means one of the days we spend on our boat, a fisherman. I knew it was time to replace some equipment, so I was going to go online and see what local stores had on sale. I really needed some extra small jigs as the mackerel were running in schools, and I was using them as bait for larger fish like striped bass. My wife Paula was sitting at the table with her laptop because she was looking for a new recipe for dinner, and I asked if she minded if I used it for a minute or two. She instead said she wouldn't mind doing it herself and asked what store I wanted. I answered Dick's Sporting Goods. Now what happened next, I am sure, has happened to everyone at least once in their life. You don't know the exact URL for the store, so you just type a few words and hope you get to the right place. However, sometimes the result comes as a complete surprise. So, like I said, the store I was referring to was Dick's Sporting Goods, but of course, what she typed was quickly hit the enter key. What appeared on the screen was not a surprise. My immediate reaction was to say, "Oh damn," but my wife's reaction was to say, "Wow," and she didn't say it in a shocked or an indignant tone, but in a more pleasant tone, implying not bad. She then clicked on the image and the screen filled with photos of young men. I looked at her and she had a huge smile and was giggling. I said, "What are you doing?" She replied, "Come on, I know you like women, but you have to admit that this guy is handsome. So you won't mind if I look for young hot girls. Don't be such a jerk, so what? It doesn't hurt to look." She then stood up and went to the stove to start cooking dinner. No more was said about it. I made the purchase, and we spent the weekend at the dacha. A few days later, my wife and I were sitting in the TV room, and as usual, she was on her laptop. She is very into social media, especially Facebook, but also many other things such as Pinterest, YouTube videos on how to make something, and many stores for buying shoes, dresses, and even makeup. It's worth mentioning that it rarely closes browser windows. She leaves them all open. She also rarely logs out because she never remembers her logins and passwords. She was used to writing them down in notebooks. She keeps a notebook of logins and passwords at work, in her purse, and in a desk drawer in our home office. Because she has a lot of open sessions, she often complains to me about her laptop being slow and asks me to do something about it. Today was one of those days, and she asked me to do something about it. I came up and said that I saw a lot of open windows and suggested closing a few. As she began to close them one by one, eventually a page of pictures of young men appeared on the screen. She gasped when she saw that I noticed, and I looked at her quite angrily. "What the hell is this?" I was curious and just watched. "Why? Why were you curious and why now? After all, you were never really interested. You told me straight out at the beginning of our relationship." "No need to shout. You know that I have had few men. I've only seen 3 in my entire life. You, Tom, who I dated in high school, and Jeff, the guy I was dating when we met. All 3 were the same, so when I saw those pictures the other day, I was surprised. I told you there's no harm in just looking." "No, Paula, it could hurt. It can become an addiction, and what happens when you get too curious?" "What do you mean too curious? Are you calling me a cheater?" "No, I'm just saying that this could negatively affect our marriage." "Darling, don't be jealous. I love you. You are all I need." "Then no more searching on the internet, okay?" "Of course expensive. No more searching." For the next few weeks, everything seemed normal. We went to work, had dinner, talked, and had sex. Nothing unusual. But then something changed. Sex with my wife was great for me. It was quite vanilla and may have been boring to some, but I never complained and neither did Paula. That evening, I was the first to bed as Paula stayed in the TV room watching some chick flick on Netflix. I don't know how much time passed, but I was awakened by Paula getting into bed. We had sex. Instead of being delighted, I was devastated. The next morning, I explained to Paula that I had a morning call, and rather than take it in the car, I would take it at home and go to work later. She finished her morning routine as usual and went to work. As soon as I realized she was gone, I went through her computer. Easy, because, as I said, she never logs out or closes the windows. To my surprise, no windows were open and the browser history was clear. This should have made me happy, but given that it was out of character for her, it only made me more suspicious. Now she was covering her tracks. Last night, instead of Netflix, she must have been watching adult videos again. Should I worry about this? If I'm going to have great sex, why say anything? My thoughts quickly jumped to the question, what happens next? What happens when she realizes that it's still me? I decided not to say anything, but began to watch her closely. That evening, we returned to the old routine. Dinner, some TV, talk about the upcoming weekend, and then bed. This was not a sex evening. In fact, there was no sex for several days. I didn't push too hard, but there were times when we went more than a few days without it, so I didn't care. But the next day, something happened that really made me anxious. We had a fight because watching videos on the internet gradually began to move into our bedroom. She began to have ideas that she wanted to implement. I rejected her. She simply turned over and again, not a word was said. For the next few weeks, we were more like roommates. We ate together, talking only about household chores or problems. There was no sex, and she refused me every time. I watched her as best I could and didn't see anything unusual. There were no outings with friends, no unnecessary shopping trips, no late work meetings. The only thing I couldn't check was what was happening at her work or during her lunch break. So I decided to start calling her during lunch. She never answered her work phone, but she did answer her cell phone. So if she ate lunch, it was not at her table. We never tracked each other's phones, so Find My Friends wasn't set up. To do this now, I would have to submit a request, and this would raise suspicions. I think if it comes down to it, I'll find a way to take her phone and do it myself. Just as quickly as everything went bad, everything became good again. Confusing. Me too. I returned from work, and instead of the usual impolite greeting I was beginning to expect, she called from the kitchen. "Dinner is almost ready. Would you like a drink?" I was stunned. I replied that I didn't need anything. I'd just wash my face and join you in a minute. The dinner conversation was completely one-sided. She talked about projects at work, about the lives of her friends, when we would go to the country again, and so on. I didn't ask any questions. I just hoped that whatever was making her angry was over and we could get back to normal. That evening, after the usual TV watching and talking, we both went to bed. I washed up first and lay down under the covers while Paula washed up and got ready for bed in the bathroom. I was lying under the blanket on my side when she returned. Again, like last time, she initiated sex. This was again unusual. Her behavior scares me. Sleep did not come to me that night. The next morning, I said again that I had a conference call that I would take it home. Again, as soon as she left for work, I went to her computer. Again, the browser history was clear and there were no open windows. But this time I was going to dig deeper. I opened her notebook with logins and passwords and found 2 new entries. They stood out because they had no indication of what they were for. Everyone else on her list had some kind of identification, such as a Facebook, Apple ID, or Pinterest. These were just her regular ID, her initials and date of birth, and then a password. She didn't want anyone to know what site or app it was for. I went back to the computer and started searching. Nothing caught my eye, so I looked in my downloads folder. There I saw the most recent activity and found the installer file. After looking at it, I found the name of the application, which could be found in a search engine, and there it was. It was a dating app for mature women. Having opened the application, I entered one of the logins and passwords, but was unable to log in. I tried the second one and entered. What I saw was the end of my marriage. Paula created a profile that stated that she wanted casual meetings without commitment with young guys, 25, 30 years old. I saw that over the course of several weeks, she had been messaging different guys through this app and had lunch dates with them. Apparently, she settled on 2 guys, and over the past 3 weeks, while I've been without sex and met with her cold shoulder, she's had sex with one of those guys 3 times and the other twice. Apparently, the meeting was supposed to take place 3 times, but one of the guys canceled the meeting at the last moment. That was yesterday, which probably explains her desire to have sex. I copied everything I could onto a flash drive. I don't know why, but I did, and typed out several pages of her messages that clearly stated what she was looking for and what she ended up doing. I'm not one of those people who waits. I was going to face her this evening. I called work and said that I was sick and wouldn't go out for a few days. And yes, I did feel sick. I spent the better part of an hour finding a divorce lawyer, and the earliest I could get one was 2 days later. But they gave me some advice, which was to do nothing but gather all the financial information so they could start working on the paperwork. I live in a state where there is no need to prove fault, so the reason for the divorce doesn't matter, and we don't have kids, so this would be a really easy job for them. Not so easy for me, but easy for them. After all, it's their job. That evening, or rather late afternoon, I was sitting in my usual chair as we watched TV, and I had 3 fingers of tequila in my glass, neat, when she returned from work. She didn't know what was wrong, but she knew something was wrong. "What happened, dear? Did you start drinking very early?" "I received some bad news this morning. Devastating news indeed." "What? You are sick? Have you lost your job?" "I'm sick, but not as sick as you think, and no, I didn't lose my job. I've lost something more important." "What is this? Tell me, darling. I can help." "No, you can't help it. You've already done enough." "You're scaring me, honey. What's happening?" "Sex the other day wasn't about you. This was a different Paula. This made me think that, like last time, you made love not with me, but with someone else. So I did a little research, and now I know everything." "You know, what are you saying?" "I know you posted an ad looking for young guys. I know you've had lunch meetings. I know you chose 2 and had sex with them. I know you were let down the other day, and I was a replacement, a weak replacement." "No, it is not true. I don't know who told you this, but it's not true." "Oh, it's true, Paula. I received the information from a very reliable source." "Who?" "You, Paula. You told me yourself." I took the papers that were lying on the floor next to the chair and handed them to her. I stood up to pour myself more tequila and heard her sobbing. "When you can pull yourself together, we need to talk. I have an appointment with a lawyer in a couple of days, and I think if we can discuss some things beforehand, it might go faster. You can hire your own lawyer, or maybe, if you agree, we can use a mediator or something that will be quick and painless." A few minutes later, she joined me in the kitchen. She wasn't quite herself, but I wasn't going to push her. "I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you so. I said I see how you react, and it won't lead to anything good. I was worried that you would bring this hobby into our lives. You said no, but then you did it anyway. I didn't mean to go that far. You could and should have stopped at the fantasy stage. The first time I knew something was wrong. You never really admitted that you did anything wrong. You pretended that it was all about me, about my problem, about my insecurities. I didn't see anything bad. I liked watching, and you only benefited from it. But I know you, Paula. I saw how you reacted. I knew you wouldn't stop with fantasies. You knew you were doing something wrong when you started hiding your actions. If you could stop with the fantasies, maybe everything would be okay. But I knew that you wouldn't be enough just for me. That's why I was angry. That's why I wanted you to stop. Okay, but it's over now. I know what I did was wrong, and you're right, I couldn't stop. I needed to find out what it was. What is sex like with someone else? I wasn't looking for love because I have love. I didn't want to replace you because I love you and want to be with you always. It was just something I had to experience. I know you don't understand, and I know I really can't explain it. It's just like all the cliches. It should have been a few quick affairs, and I would have put it out of my mind. I would treat you the same, and we would be happy for the rest of our lives. But that wasn't the case. You changed. You expected more from me than I could offer. God gave me what I have, and there's nothing I can do about it. No, I like sex with you. We make love. What I did was not love. How long? How long can you last before you want that experience again? I'm sure you love making love to me, but now that you've had this experience, I'm sure you'll want it again. So many different men. When will the limit come? Paula, I'm drinking expensive tequila right now. It costs me a pretty penny, but since I drink it little by little, not mixing it for margaritas, and don't drink it often, I figure I can afford it. Hell, if I ever go back to cheap tequila from a bar, it'll be amazing. My fear is that the same thing will happen to you. You won't want to. I love you. I will not leave you. I didn't say you would leave. Of course you will stay. I am reliable. I have a good job. We have a house and a dacha. You won't give up on this. You'll just be more careful not to get caught. I don't want to share with you. I don't have the time, money, or energy to constantly monitor you, check your every move, message, or email. I don't want to have sex with you. So what kind of marriage is this, and what kind of life is this? This is not marriage or life. That's why I'm asking for a divorce. I finished my drink, grabbed my car keys, and walked to the door. I'm going to leave for the night. I'm not going to move, and I'm not asking you to leave. I just can't stay here with you tonight. Please stay, Dave. Let's talk, please. I don't want to be alone. Paula, I'm going crazy right now. I need to be alone and think. If I stay, I'll say things I'll regret. Just let me go tonight, please. I'll be back tomorrow. But I think we need a few days to calm down. Go to your sister, go somewhere. Just don't be here when I get back tomorrow. I went to a local brewpub that I don't frequent often, so I was sure I wouldn't run into anyone I knew, and there was a good chance I'd be left alone. I ordered a pint of IPA and just stared into space. I was angry, I was upset, and I was confused. Divorce really seemed like my only option. What she did to me, I believed, deserved punishment. But why did I have to lose? For me, it was like victory and defeat at the same time. She won. She had her affairs, and I remained faithful, and when we divorce, I feel like I will lose. I will lose half of what I have earned and what I own, and I will be left alone. She'll be left alone, but let's face it, she'll get all the male attention she wants and still walk away with half of it. She will still come to the top. But I couldn't stay. I know she will kill herself trying to get me back, but in my current state, I will push her away. We will be unhappy. About the third glass, I had another thought. A lot of my feelings and problems stem from my insecurities. If I give her the benefit of the doubt that she has actually stopped, I will still have trouble having sex with her again. I was Paula's first. I was all she knew. Now that she has experienced others, I am afraid that I no longer fit. If we ever make love again, what will she think? But when we divorce, what will I face? I'm still young and will want to be with another woman again. So if I can meet and have sex with another woman my age, who has obviously had multiple lovers or multiple husbands, then why can't I have sex with Paula again? Why does sex with Paula seem disgusting to me now? Why is she now spoiled when I could probably have sex with a woman who has children but is now single? Suddenly, the thought of counseling seemed good, but not marital counseling, but meeting with a psychologist to sort out my problem. I will continue with the divorce anyway because it will satisfy my need for punishment. Divorce will be a big blow for Paula, and it will give me some satisfaction. But I would need to talk to someone to see if reconciliation is possible in the future. If I can get past this block in my head about having sex with her, maybe we can start over by dating and seeing if we're right for each other. I'll start looking for psychologists tomorrow. But for now, I need to find a room and get some sleep. There were tons of places to stay, so I just stopped at the first one I found, the Holiday Inn Express, and got a room for the night. Then I realized that I hadn't even packed my things. It's okay, I just fell on the bed as I was. The next morning, I returned home. Paula's car wasn't there, so I guess she left. When I walked inside, everything looked the same until I went into the kitchen to make coffee. There was a bottle of Don Julio tequila on the table, her laptop was broken into pieces, and a note. The entire note said, "I love you more than you can imagine. I'm so sorry you can't imagine. I never wanted to lose you. I'm staying with Sister Chris to give you space." Now she knows what I did and told me I'm disgusting, but being the sister she is, She'll take me in until Sean gets back from his business trip to Mexico. When you're ready, please call and tell me I can come home. Sean, Chris's husband, is a hot Irishman. There's no way he's going to let Paula be there when he finds out the news, and frankly, I'm scared of what he might do if she's there when he arrives. I called the psychologist and made an appointment for the following week. I haven't called or talked to Paula yet. We had an introductory conversation, and he understood exactly what I was trying to express. He didn't make any promises, but said that if I wanted, we could continue our talks and see if it was worth doing in the long run. I don't know why, but at this stage I felt like I had nothing to lose, so I agreed. Then I called Paula and asked her to come home. When Paula arrived, she looked tired, scared, but hopeful. I explained that the divorce process would continue and told her why. She cried, raised her voice, explained that she would be faithful forever, but I said that this is what I feel I should do and why. She got angry and again said that I was basing this all on my ego and insecurities. She became even more upset when I said she was absolutely right. It's all about me, my feelings and insecurities. I explained that I felt this was what I had to do, and this was the only way to move forward. I still don't trust her, and I don't see how I can have sex with her again. She still didn't understand and, through tears, asked why I called her home. Paula, last week I decided that while you have problems, I have problems too. I want to be with you and I want to be married to you, but until I can find a way to trust you again and be with you again, our marriage is dead regardless of the divorce decision. I met with a psychologist and agreed to weekly meetings. If he can help me learn to forgive, trust, and overcome my insecurities, then we can move forward and start all over again. We can date again, have sex again, and then even get married again. But if I realize that I can't leave this in the past, then we're done and we'll have to move on. Are you going to a psychologist? Do you think it's only you who has problems and not me? Yes and no. Yes, I go to a psychologist for help. Yes, I have problems. No, I think you have problems too, and you should seek help. I think talking to a professional trained in these things can't hurt. This will help you really understand and know whether you have truly overcome this fascination with having sex with others or not. I don't have any hobbies. I already explained to you why I did it, and it's over. Okay, maybe that was a bad word, but you know what I mean. For now, we will live together, the divorce process will continue, and we will move forward one day at a time while I continue to work with the psychologist. But I want to remind you that although we will be divorced and technically able to date others, if either of us starts doing this, our relationship will be completely destroyed. There is no way to work on repairing our relationship if one or both of us are dating others. Dave, I have no intention of dating anyone other than you. Are you saying you want to date others? Do you want some kind of revenge? No, I'm just raising this issue because it's unacceptable. I intend to do everything possible to get us back on good terms, and I expect the same from you. Just saying you're sorry isn't enough. Paula understood and moved her things into one of the guest rooms while I slept in the master bedroom. For 6 months, we existed as roommates. We were polite to each other, and she tried her best to shower me with attention and love. I asked several times to slow down because she was overdoing it, and I couldn't stand her constant apologies. She tried to get me to have sex, but I told her that more not ready. This continued until almost a year had passed since my discovery when I told her it wouldn't work out. I told her she can blame my male ego and insecurities or oneself for betrayal. No matter what the reason is, nothing works. We can be friends, but we can't be lovers. I was about to leave. As part of the divorce, we agreed to sell the house and split the profits in half. I was going to use my share to buy a condo in another state. I made an agreement with my job to work remotely. This means that I can work from home as long as I have access to the internet and telephone service. I'm not running away, or maybe I am, but I can't stay here. Too many memories, too many questions from people, too great a chance of seeing Paula again. She took it hard. She called me a weakling and started again with, "I've been faithful since then, I won't do it again," And if you love me, why can't you have sex with me? I don't know if it dawned on her, but she stopped crying, took her purse, and left. I think she went to her sister's because in the week that I was packing my things and moving to my new apartment, I didn't see her. I found a place in New Hampshire last week, and the owners agreed to a lease with an option to buy once the sale of our home was completed. I'm not at peace with myself, and I feel bad about Paula. She had a moment of weakness and realized too late how much damage it had caused. I feel bad, too, that I failed to put this behind me and heal our marriage, and instead let him die the way he did. I wish things weren't like this, but unfortunately this is who I am, and no matter how hard I try to change it, I can't. Sometimes I think it's still bad to just watch. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one. Click to the next one.